We are continuing our 7,000-mile road trip to the western states to visit 5 national parks and other roadside attractions. In our first video, we focused on the family members we visited in Illinois, Colorado, and Nevada. In this video, we visited roadside attractions in Iowa and Nebraska. We're Richard and Mary. Since retiring in 2004, we've been exploring the U.S. and abroad by car, RV, train, and cruise ship.
Come along with us as we enjoy beautiful scenery and visit interesting and historic places.
Please subscribe and welcome to the adventures of the retired roamers.
In West Branch, Iowa, we visited the Herbert Hoover National Historic Site and Presidential Library.
Hoover spent his early childhood years in this 14 by 20 foot cottage built by his parents in 1871. Young Herbert worked with his father in a blacksmith shop similar to the ones shown here. At the time of Hoover's birth, West Branch was a growing community of about 350, and by 1880 over 500 people lived here. Some of the original buildings are still here.
The Presidential Library Museum is located within walking distance of the original town site.
Hoover was a member of the inaugural class of Stanford University and graduated with a degree in geology. Hoover's career as a mining engineer and financier made him a millionaire by age 40, at which time he embarked on a course of public service.
At the outbreak of World War I, he organized and headed the Commission for Relief in Belgium that provided food for that occupied country. When the U.S. entered the war in 1917, President Wilson appointed Hoover to lead the Food Administration, which controlled the food supply to support the war effort. Hoover became famous as the Food Czar. After the war, he was appointed Director General of the American Relief Administration, which fed 350 million people in 21 countries.
From 1921 through 1928, Hoover served as the Secretary of Commerce for Presidents Harding and Coolidge. In 1928, Hoover campaigned for the presidency of the United States and was elected as the 31st president. Unfortunately, less than 1 year after he assumed the presidency, the stock market crashed and we entered into the Depression. One of the projects to help combat the Depression was the creation of the Hoover Dam, which created Lake Mead.
As the Depression dragged on, and in spite of numerous attempts to turn the economy around, Hoover's popularity evaporated and he became the scapegoat.
Hoover ran for a second term, but the Depression was just too much to overcome, and he lost the election to Franklin Roosevelt. Entering back into private life, he served as the chairman of the Boys Club from 1936 to 1964. In his private life, Hoover authored 5 books.
In 1946, he helped found children's welfare organizations, UNICEF and CARE.
Under Presidents Truman and Eisenhower, he served on 2 special commissions. He retired from public life in 1955 and enjoyed his final years until his death in 1964. Well, I learned a lot of interesting facts today.
I did too, and this is our 8th presidential library.
And I've learned something, I think, at every single one of them.
Me too, but especially this one because I knew nothing about Herbert Hoover.
I think the only thing I knew was what I learned in history class.
I don't think he was mentioned in our history class. But I was surprised to learn how much he did to feed the people in Europe during and right after World War I. That was very remarkable.
I think that's probably why he's been known as the great humanitarian.
I think so too.
Okay, well, it's on down the road. We're next going to Fort Cody Trading Post. Who knows what we're going to find there.
I imagine it's going to be different than what we saw today.
We'll see you there. Welcome to Nebraska. We are following the Platte River, and this is the route that the pioneers took on the Mormon Trail, the California Trail, and the Oregon Trail. Along this same route, along with the pioneers, Pony Express followed this route as well as the Transcontinental Railroad. When you travel this road, it becomes quite apparent why the pioneers chose this route. It's flat. It's got a river. Platte River follows you all along, and there's plenty of grass for grazing for their livestock. Welcome to Fort Cody Trading Post. It's been here since long ago, 1963. I guess the wagons didn't stop here. Well, let's go inside and just see how what this is like. This is billed as the largest gift and Western souvenir shop in Nebraska. This diorama of Bill Cody's Wild West show is made of 20,000 hand-carved pieces, and it took 12 years to make. We've crossed over from Nebraska into Colorado, and the environment has significantly changed. We're no longer following the Platte River. There are no longer trees or lush grass. We're now in a more arid environment. We're seeing sagebrush, and instead of being the flatlands along the Platte River, we're now into rolling hills. Join us next time as we follow Interstate 70 across the scenic mountains and canyons of Colorado.